Welcome to the Executorial Podcast. I'm your host, Bill Gross at Bill Gross Probate. And we have on the call today, or on our podcast today, a longtime friend from the state of Florida. Stephanie Hopkins is a probate title agent and helps executors get research and understand how title is held, and maybe where some research on where properties are, if there's a mortgage, who the mortgage lender at least is when it was recorded, as well as provide some great solutions for building wealth through real estate. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Bill.
So how long have you been involved with title and real estate?
I've been in title a little over 3 years now.
Yeah.
I have been in the insurance industry in various sectors, handling risk assessment for over 2 decades.
And people understand that title insurance is really an insurance product. We don't feel of it that way, but really it is insuring title to prospective buyers and sellers so that transactions can be made, correct?
That is correct. Title insurance protects the buyer and the lender from any mishaps in the title, from any liens or encumbrances that may have been missed in the title search. So that's the reason why title insurance is so important.
And so we often, though, and one of the things is in addition to providing the title insurance on transactions is you help us do research before we have a transaction to help us find out what we need to insure. And so, I mean, as recently as today, you and I were transacting on a case where a family has a deed. The question is whether or not what we have will help us move forward or not. So I'm not sure what you call that. To me, that's kind of like the pre-title research and service that title representatives like you provide.
Yes, and I actually provide that work under my nonprofit, which is Embracing Life Development, Inc. So I provide the research under that entity, as well as help the executors with their legal document preparation as a non-attorney.
So you also help them prepare documents for what, estate planning purposes, like wills and trusts and such?
Yes, as well as even small estates.
And how about when people don't get it ahead of time? I think that's what we're focused on today, is primarily when executors don't have that done. That's where you help out as far as providing the research of what those documents need to look like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'll look in public records and help find whatever it is that they need for me to do for them. I can do that because I understand from being an executor over of an estate what that can be like. Right. It's so overwhelming. And if you could have someone who understands the process inside and out to be that guiding light for you, that's a great thing.
Yeah, and like I said, I just used you today. We have a very sophisticated team, and in this case, a probate, almost legal group, but they have a deed. And the question is, is this sufficient? I think it was a power of attorney. There's some sort of question as to the format. Of course, every state's a little different. And the key is you have companies that you take this to, and they actually make a decision. Yes, we'll insure this, or no, it's not sufficient, or no, it's not sufficient, but you need to do this to get it corrected. That's part of the process, correct?
That is correct. I have a curative attorney on my team as well, and that's exactly what they do. They'll look at the deeds and they will assist with clearance of it, whatever it needs to be done in order for it to become marketable.
So what are common challenges or problems that people have in their deeds that you can help them with, that you help them fix? Can you give me an example or two?
Well, there are some hidden liens, right? Mm-hmm. Most people don't think about utility bills. They don't think about mechanic liens. They don't think about the PACE liens where they've purchased HVAC, roofing, insulated windows. Those are what they call voluntary liens. So once you sign those documents, then it's coming through your taxes. So if you fall behind on your taxes, they can actually foreclose on your property just for those items that I just mentioned when it's regarding the PACE liens.
And so to be precise, a PACE lien is a lien where somebody owns a property and gets a loan that they use to improve the property. And oftentimes they forget about it. I mean, my experience as a real estate agent is people forget that they have these liens, but at some point they've got to be paid off through the process. And so that's what you do.
That is correct. And what happens is they become what you call zombie liens, right? They don't resurrect themselves until someone wants to purchase and then they come back alive. So it's triggered.
Right, and it has to get paid. There's no solution that says we're not going to pay it. At the end of the day, you're either paying it or you're paying it, but one way or the other, you're paying it, correct?
Right. They'll end up paying it out of their proceeds. So that's the reason why you want to make sure that you are evaluating your home accordingly so it will accommodate the payout for those liens.
So, and obviously people are surprised when they find those and they're not happy when they find them, right? I mean, that's kind of a common occurrence. People want to shoot the messenger when you tell them about this.
Well, I think what makes it an issue is they don't realize it's a voluntary lien. That's what it is. I'm not sure if it's being disclosed that it's a lien, but they're like, this shouldn't be on my, shouldn't be a lien on my house. And it's like, yeah, you got this water softener, you did this roofing, this HVAC, all of it. So yes, that's a voluntary lien. So that's where they get a little surprised at.
And if in the case of a probate or trust, oftentimes mom and dad didn't tell the kids that's how they got the solar, the water heater, and yet it's got to get paid. And so the kids are in the mind dividing up the proceeds, and they find out there's another $50,000 or $3,000 that isn't theirs. So I think one of the things that I recommend to people is as soon as you start working on a trust or probate case, to get a preliminary title report to get all these liens out, and then you can start working on them if they've been paid or not, correct?
Absolutely. As soon as you identify that there's any issue in title, that's the first thing that you want to address. That's your first due diligence. That's what I always recommend. Because of the days and times that we're living in, we're in a whole new era. You have to work a little differently. We're no longer in the good old boys and shake your hand and word is bond. Right now, people will shake your hand and things will be so wrong with the property and you don't realize it until later. But if you can get a jump on it, that would be the best thing for the families. Another thing too, when you mentioned about heirs, so if any of the heirs inherit a home, then if they owe any money, that becomes a part of that inherited house. So that would have to be taken care of too in the settlement.
Yeah, and so that's part of the process is if you step in as a trustee, really you become the owner of the property like your mom or dad was before they passed. So you have all the same responsibilities and obligations that they have going on. One of the other ones is property taxes that you have to continue to make those payments. And the title report will provide whether or not the taxes are up to date. And if not, then you can start making them or get caught up. Or if they're up to date, you can be relieved, and you'll find out maybe they're part of the mortgage payment process. But at least you can find out when you get the title report what the mortgage was, if any, and the taxes status and any other liens, like we talked about PACE liens. Let's talk a little bit about reverse mortgages. I think that's one of the common areas that people get surprised on when they step in as a trustee or as an administrator of an estate. Oftentimes people will say, well, the house is worth $400,000. There's a loan here for $250,000, but mom or dad don't have $250,000. You and I know that's probably a line of credit, which is common with reverse mortgages. I think 80% of them have a line of credit established with them. How common is it that people have those questions come to you and say, hey, this isn't really my lien because they never be accessed it, but it really is the lien. That must be a common problem or one that's growing, I would think. It
is, and it comes due quick. Mm-hmm. They will give the family, I believe it is 2 6-month extensions, I believe. So I think it's a year. But once those interests start piling up, it becomes unbearable. I have seen a house having to be sold in probate because of the reverse mortgage. The children were not aware that the mother had done a reverse mortgage on the house. And she had passed a year prior. They did not get an attorney until a year later. Mm. And that $60,000 turned into $100,000+. So they end up having to sell the property in order to satisfy the debt.
Mm. That's part of it. I guess the sooner you find out, the sooner you can start taking action on those things.
Absolutely. Due diligence, that is the best thing that you can do, especially in this probate arena. And people get stuck because they don't know. But if you can find someone to call, such as myself, and I have such a huge network that I can reach out to so that we can get the ball rolling, so we can help you get more bottom line.
Let's talk about you. You also have a strategy, a legacy strategy session process where you help people kind of put together a plan. Talk about that a little bit. I know you have a ability to set time to get together on that on your website. Talk about that process and what service you're offering people.
Yeah, so we offer it for my title agency, right? We also offer it for the nonprofit. And so what that does is that you and I would meet. We will go over what your goals are, right, with your property, or if you're trying to establish an estate, right? And once we gather all of that information, then I will go to my team of tax strategists, estate planners, real estate attorneys, and we'll come up with a plan based off of our conversation. And then we will meet again for the implementation process, where I will give you the layout of the land of what you want to do.
And so what are typical solutions that you help people take advantage of?
So most people, they're looking for trusts and estates to be set up, right? Because now they've inherited this property and they want to protect it for generations to come. They also want to know about the tax inheritance, right? And the gift tax. And sometimes they even want to set up a plan where they can just, give money away to the charity. So we help with all of that.
So these things that you can do short of an attorney in the state of Florida. In California, we're very limited in what we can do, but in Florida, you have a lot more leeway. And I think it's interesting that you're a professional in title. You see more than most attorneys. An attorney can do zero estate plans their whole career. They can do nothing but drunk driving and criminal work, but they can write an estate plan in California. And here you've been in insurance and title, and you see all the mistakes, you see all the problems, you see all the documents, you see what gets contested. And in California, you can't write an estate plan, but in Florida, you can help people, I guess, put documents together and help them put together the pieces of the puzzle to help them preserve their wealth.
Yes, under my nonprofit Embracing Life, I can, yes.
And again, that's also something that when people inherit money, often they need, because maybe mom and dad were wealthy and have 4 or 5 heirs. I find regularly the kids inheriting don't have the same wealth and also don't have the same plan put together, but they need to. If you have kids, you're inheriting money, inheriting a house, you need to protect them. And so you offer that as a tool in your process.
Absolutely. And we explained what this is, right? Because as you stated, some have never inherited before, and they don't understand that they're still responsible for the carrying costs, on the home, such as you mentioned with taxes. You technically never really own the land. You just own the structure that's on it. So if you don't pay your tax bill, then you will lose your property as well as your house altogether, because it's fixed. But we make them aware of these things because they're in a space they haven't seen before, right? And we educate them on what this looks like moving forward. And if there's any questions that they may have, like financial, we even assist with that as well.
Well, look, Sharon, I appreciate your time today. Your website is, Stephanie-Hopkins.com. I'm reading 3 things at once here. I'm so sorry. Steph and I just did business this morning, so it's not like I don't know her. We're kind of I put my best client's title in her hand, so I trust her. You should as well. Stephanie-Hopkins. I just clicked the button. I don't even read this out loud normally. Black Wall Street Title LLC, where you can go if you want to have a personalized legacy strategy session. This is where she helps you as far as preparing your legacy. If you're an executor inheriting money and you need to set that up, have questions, that's where you go to do that. And then this is the Executorium Podcast, EXECUTORIUM, where we get together and promote the Executorium website, which has really 4 basic features. It has directory of estate providers. It has a directory of government resources, which is great. to find the forms for both your state and your county. I was going to say stounty, your state and your county. And then also information, articles, and learning on more about the resources. If you go to the service providers and you click, you put in your county, and for example, under real estate, you'll see Black Wall Street Title LLC, and this is where Stephanie's link is. But she does more than just real estate. She does title. She helps people invest in real estate. She also helps people preserve the real estate through proper planning and help with the documents. So, Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us today. I always appreciate talking to you. And of course, I need to hear back from you when we have a chance. When our client gets you the documents, please get back to me about what we're working on together, okay?
I will. Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much. And to the rest of you, this is the Executorium Podcast. We get together every week and review the Executorium website, which is a great tool for executors and for people who are, oops, I lost my thought there. I'm a little slow today. I don't know. I need to fire my producer, I think. Oh, I am the producer. Anyhow, the Executorium Podcast, we get together every week and interview people like Stephanie who help executors and, state administrators and such, with the task, with the jobs. We're professionals. We have a Facebook group if you want to continue the conversation, if you're looking for references or whatever. And then again, go to the Executorium Podcast, our Executorium website that has all the information, the different vendors in your area, the state and local resources, as well as blog and information on how to do business. I'm Bill Gross at Bill Gross Probate. Always appreciate you guys. Put comments in if you like it, don't like it. What would you like us to talk about if we can help you be more effective? We're glad to do it. As always, make today your best